This video is a little bit all over the place. These are just my random thoughts. Don't be fooled by my wardrobe that kind of looks like it's color coordinated. Yeah, technically it is, but I only wear like 5 shirts out of this, so everything else just stays in the order that it's in. I am finding that cleaning my sheets once a week, I think it's been good for my mental health. I struggle to go to bed every night as it is. Anyone that's dealt with trauma, I'm sure you get where I'm coming from. I struggle to go to bed as it is, so if there are nice clean sheets that feel really nice against my skin, at least that's kind of beckoning me to a certain extent. And once I get into bed, I'm very happy to be in bed. But yeah, it's the getting there that's the problem. The bed has been an interesting thing in general. I bought a queen bed. I got some assistance from charities when I first left, so I had some vouchers. So I bought this bed, and I bought a queen bed. For the first maybe even 6 months, I was still sleeping like up on the very edge of the bed because I had been so accustomed to trying to take up as little space as possible and like sneaking in and out of bed. And I'd been doing that for like 20 years. So it was a very hard habit to break, but I've had to force myself to just lay in the middle of the bed. Like I have a whole queen size bed to myself. I just need to take up space in my own bed. Yeah, so that's been interesting. I could definitely do with a deeper desk, but this desk was $1, so I really couldn't beat $1 for a desk. So yeah, the desk just is what it is. I could definitely use the space on the desk better, but I'm probably not going to. I just sink back into the same pattern of how I use it. It does the job. But yeah, I could definitely use like maybe a little bookshelf or some other furniture in here, but I'm not going to get anything because I don't know how long I will be here. So I'm just making do with what I've got. You can stay on my lap, but I'm going to have to type. And I know you should be the center of attention. So it started raining just as I was putting washing in the washing machine. But I could see blue skies all around, so I was pretty confident it was just going to be a little drizzle of rain and then clear skies again. And I was right. When I first moved in here and there were 3 of us, we went thirds in this washing machine. It's not a big washing machine. It was like the cheapest one on the market. I think it was $300. Sorry, we each paid $100. It's, I don't know if it's a 5 kilo or a 5.5 kilo, but it's also just a cheap machine, so it doesn't spin very well. To do a load of bed sheets, it takes 2 loads, basically. So, I guess when you start a new life, you're trying to find, like, who am I really? Like, and I have no other external influences. Who am I really? Am I actually a tidy person that was just buried under a whole lot of emotional labor? No, I'm definitely not a tidy person, but it is much easier to keep my life organized now without all that emotional labor. So yeah, I am doing better in terms of keeping my life organized, but also I'm not really settled here and I don't have all my things, and I'm trying really hard not to accumulate too much stuff. So yeah, it's much easier to stay organized. So I'm doing 2 degrees, just to be confusing. I started one and then decided to switch to the other, and then, well, no, actually I still want to finish the first one. So I am doing 2 degrees. I'm hoping to finish my Bachelor of Arts with a major in English at the end of 2026. And if I stay on my current trajectory, then hopefully I will finish my Bachelor of Laws by the end of 2027. So I always try, during the summer break for my law degree, I try and fit in some arts units. So I'm currently doing 2 creative writing units. I have a peer workshop next week, and I need to have my draft done by Monday. The piece of work is a junior fiction novel. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. Corey was bouncing excitedly in her seat as they wove deeper and deeper into suburbia. They drove down a long street lined with unit blocks and duplexes. Okay, so can you see them? I think they're backlit. You probably can't see them, but they're not cooked, but they have puffed up because they've been soaked. Okay, I've put fresh water in up to the max fill line. Alright, I'm going to cook mine for 20 minutes because I like them quite soft. Alright, cool. Start. In a few months, the lease is up for the rental property that I'm currently living in and sharing. And as it stands, I'm struggling to pay the rent when there's only 2 people staying here. Yes, I finally got a job, but it's just a small job. So yes, I can continue on the way I'm going, but my rent is a large portion of what I'll have coming in. So I'm just starting to look at other places that I might be able to rent, see what I can get for a little bit less or around the same amount. I have not had any luck finding work in the local area. I've slowed down on making applications just because I got something, but I could ramp that back up again, which would help with paying for the rent if there's just 2 people sharing this property. So I'm just not sure what's going to happen in the next few months in terms of accommodation. I'm not really tied to this area, but on the other hand, obviously moving is expensive. The beans are finished cooking. I let the pressure release naturally because there's a little liquid in there, so it'll spit everywhere if I tried to release the pressure. So just to give you an idea, that is 2 cups of dried beans, and this is a 3-litre pressure cooker. I'm very used to moving around, so I've started going through my things and starting to make plans for what I could get rid of. My plan would be to have all my possessions fit comfortably in my car. Yeah, so I would just need to reduce back down to that. You know what it's like. You just start accumulating small things that don't seem like much in a house, but if you try and fit them all into a moving van, or yeah, you start to realize just how many things you have. I've made sure that I've got a good relationship with Bella's vet and her vaccinations are up to date, so that if she needs to go into a cattery, if I move somewhere else and there's a bit of a gap, then that's totally fine. She can go into a cattery for a little while. She's going to hate that, but yeah, I've had a lot of generous people buy me a coffee, and a lot of those people really wanted to support Bella, and that's really why I've been able to afford to keep taking Bella to the vet and trying to figure out her health stuff. So thank you so much for your help. It has directly helped, so thank you. I've just been making plans in terms of Bella in case she needs to go into a cattery. Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of thinking through. So that's 2026 for me. I don't know if I'm moving in the next few months. I don't know where I'd be moving. Yeah, I need to start going through rental listings to see where I might be able to afford. I'm not particularly like married to any particular area. So yeah, I just need to find somewhere affordable, I guess. There might be some content coming up of me preparing to potentially move. I was doing okay for a few months, but just recently I have had to dip into my savings. I had to pay for registration on the car in January, and yeah, it's just how it ended up. But hopefully I'll be able to start putting a little bit back in there when I start getting paid from work. I've got training coming up in a few days. So yeah, that is moving along, but that's still weeks away. So I just need to tread water for a little while. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next one.